Hi everybody, it's Mr. D at In the Middle Mr. D1 at blogspot.com with a Facebook Live Monday. We've been doing these in February, and we had one last week, and I was happy to see people here, and I hope that it was helpful to some of you. I want to say right now that this is interactive. You can ask questions that are completely random and have nothing to do with what I'm talking about. I'm kind of doing stream of consciousness here each night, sharing some things that are happening in my classroom, and also asking you some questions to share with others as well. I want this to be as valuable as possible. Again, totally random questions are okay about what you're experiencing in your classroom, anything to do with middle school teaching of choir. So if you're here, hello, and if you join us late, I hope you'll go back and check everything out. I always have a deal of the night in my TPT store, and I usually wait until the end to announce it, but this is going to be a 2-hour deal. It's going to end at 9 p.m. tonight Eastern, and I'm just going to tell you up front, it is for level 2 of S Cubed, and it's going to be $100 off until 9, so that's huge. It's normally $139. It will be $39, so go grab it. And also I want to just suggest to everybody, please share everything with your peers here. You can share that deal, you can share whatever you want, and let people know about Mr. D and what we're doing here so that we can get help in the hands of teachers. I know I needed it when I was a young teacher, so I'm hoping that we can all help each other. Okay, so first I'm going to tell you that next Monday we will not have a Facebook Live. I'm out of school, I'll be out of town, but we will have it the following week, so that will be the 27th. So the first thing I'm going to share tonight that happened since last week is something that I think teachers can use a lot in their classrooms. You know, we don't have enough money in our classrooms, funding. If you have that situation, press like or whatever. I know it's really hard to get funding for our programs. So last week I got word that our festival preparation, our buses were not going to be the same as before. So I panicked because it was going to cost us $1,000 to do this new bus arrangement with the schedule that they were giving us. So I hadn't budgeted that money at all, and I didn't know what I was going to do. So I panicked. It was Monday last week when I was doing the Facebook Live here, and I panicked a bit and didn't know what to do. So after I got off of Facebook Live, I went on to look for some options, and I remember seeing this a teacher peer at my school who had a DonorsChoose tag on her signature line for her school email. And so I just went on there and I looked at her DonorsChoose to see what she'd done and what her profile was and this type of thing. It's all very transparent and open, so I really liked that. So I decided to investigate what that might look like if I decided to go on DonorsChoose. And I went on there the next night. I created a profile, and I have an extensive parent email list. So I decided to use that email list because you can, once you create your profile and you create your project, you can email it to your parents or whoever your email list is before the project is approved. So I went ahead and did that. And you guys, within 18 hours, I had it funded, plus $700 more. I'm very grateful for that, very fortunate. And I just wanted to share that with you. Now, that was, of course, parents who did it. DonorsChoose also has many people who are philanthropists who want to give money to programs like that. And the ideal situation with DonorsChoose is to combine your parent group that you're going to email the project to with people who just support music education or whatever education projects they want. And you leave it up for 2 months, and then it can get funded over that 2-month period. You have to have a 2-month window on your project. Now, mine I had to rush. It's a rush job. Our project, our event is March the 20th. I knew that I was bumping up against all these difficulties. So I asked DonorsChoose if they could please make an exception if I was able to fund it. And it all happened so quickly within 2 days that they did make an exception. So they're going to fast forward everything. The money's already in the account. It's tax deductible. I mean, it is so awesome. And I didn't have to collect a dime. I didn't have to touch any money. Parents can just go on and do their credit card. So that is going to be something I'm going to use a lot going forward to fund things like if you want to buy a piano, a clavinova, or something like that, or if you you want iPads for your classroom or something like that. So I urge you guys to go and look at DonorsChoose. It is a really great organization. Hello, Julia Jackson Brown. Thanks for coming in. I just talked about DonorsChoose. I hope that you might take a look at that. It's really good. It's if anybody else has used it, please share your experience in the comments below in the hours that follow this if you're not here live. So the festival transportation has been worked out, and we have the funds, and DonorsChoose is going to pay it, so it's awesome. I am a firm believer in preparation meeting opportunity, and I feel like in this moment it was really helpful. Oh, good, Julia, you used DonorsChoose. You've gotten 4 projects funded. Wow, that's super. Can you mention anything about what type of projects you've had done? I've heard some teachers have gotten iPads for their classroom. I'm thinking about doing something like that long term. Now that I know the potential here for the program, and I can think about projects long term, this was such a fast thing, but my experience with them has been nothing but awesome. Like they were very flexible. They answer emails very quickly. It's very easy to set up your profile. And I'm definitely going to use it more down the line. And I think lots of teachers who have needs in their classroom, and no funds to get it done can get some of those things worked out. So if you, Juliet, wouldn't mind just mentioning those projects. It was when I taught elementary. Okay, I mostly got instruments and movement materials. Okay, haven't gotten one since I started middle. Okay, so I'm just curious what your budget was, because they say that most projects under 400 get funded. Those are the ones that are the most popular. Mine was a $1,200 project that was urgent, that the parents, of course, funded, as I mentioned, and that got funded, but of course with that parent help. And I have a very large program, so that was good. I think the possibilities are pretty endless, and you guys can just let your minds go crazy. People who want a Promethean board, or a like I needed a new projector for my Promethean board. So I'm thinking about looking at that. It was, okay, so hello, Marlena. Are you learning to teach middle school music? Welcome, glad you're here. Hope you're good. So I can't emphasize enough the importance of having that parent email list. I would not have gotten this project funded without that. And I will not step back into that ring again, asking for money like that from them for a very long time, because this was, you just don't want to step back in that a lot. So I was very grateful to them. And you send afterwards, you send like thank yous on there, and you send pictures of the project, which I always take pictures anyway. So that's going to be good. And I like the idea of being able to get monies that large for the program without touching the money. So I'm thinking next year when I start school, I'm going to make an open project of some sort that has, it always has to have like, you have to attach a bill to it with the company that you're going to go to. So you have to be pretty specific about what you're doing, but I'm going to figure that out. There's lots to think about. So I have a question for anybody who is in the room tonight who teaches middle school. And the question that I want to ask you, and you can answer it later after this is over as well, is what do you think the engine is that cranks the tractor of your program? I know that sounds so country, right? What do you think makes the kids come to take chorus? What do you think builds your program? For me, I can tell you what mine is, and then you can comment below for people who see this later. It's the spring musical review, and that is also our fundraiser. That is the major thing that funds my program. Like for my school, I get about, I'd say $1,500 a year from the district or whatever to buy music, and with 340 kids, that's not enough, right? So I love musical theater, and the kids are always attracted to what we're attracted to, and they want they may have never heard of a Broadway show, but when they come in my classroom and I start talking about it and sharing the things that I love about it, then they absolutely start to get turned on to it, and they find out that it's something maybe different than they thought it was, or maybe they, as I said, have never heard of it. And then kids start getting really passionate about that. And so we start that event from October when they audition. I talk about it from August so they can prepare auditions. They audition, and then we custom build the program around the talents that I have that year. I help them find the right song, find the right key of the right song, help them find their little stars, and I love doing that. And so the kids, they love everything with the musical. Like in the middle of festival preparation, when they're kind of feeling bogged down with the proper, worrying about proper phrasing and proper everything that you have to do to get good scores at festival, we pull out the musical theater and we sing a little chest voice, and they just love it. I mean, it's not all chest voice, obviously, but it's so good to teach them those different styles. And the kids are so stimulated and excited by what they see in their peers. For example, this Wednesday, we're going to have our first show and tell. And so they've been rehearsing now for I think 6 weeks. And so we've staged 6 songs. It'll be very rough when we go in. But that day, we're not doing any staging. We're not doing anything but just letting the kids perform for each other whatever they've done. And there will be a couple of solo moments in there. Kids... And this is when I just love watching the kids, because they look at all of these other children that they've never met. They're mixed by grade level in the musical rehearsals, because it's a before school activity. And they find their mentors, they find the people who are amazing at singing or amazing at performing, who they want to be like. And then they grow. And then kids feel a little bit of pressure that day to do their best performance. So that is a really awesome thing, I think, to have them feel, because they will practice some of the things they maybe didn't practice for a couple of weeks, because they know they're going to do it in front of their peers. And I call that positive peer pressure, and I absolutely highly recommend it when you can use it with your students to help them reach their peaks. It's great, this process, because we put it together slowly. We pick the songs slowly. They get better and better over time. And by the time they get to the event, they have just poured so much of themselves into it by showing up at 7:30 in the morning and before school to do these rehearsals. It really takes a big commitment. And I can't say enough about how it really does make the children want to come to my program. Like I have in my 6th grade class right now, I had them raise their hands today, who has seen our musical review fundraiser at the end of the year. And that, they, at least a third of them, almost a half of them raised their hands. And they are, so excited about what they saw. They saw the final product, and then they come and they want to be in it. And so these are the things that crank the tractor of my program. And it's the reason I think it does that is because I'm passionate about it. And see, if you're passionate about magical singers, it's not my thing. I can't do it. I mean, it's just not my thing. I could do it, but it wouldn't be what I really want to do. So I wouldn't have the passion behind it. And the kids could easily be attracted to a teacher who is really passionate about that sort of thing. So I urge you to find what it is that makes your heart flutter, what type of music or genres, or where could you spend your energy. Now I have to make choices in my program, as I'm sure that you do. We cannot do everything. I'm not going to try to do everything. I can't. So what do I want to do the most? I want to teach them good choral singing. I want to teach them good sight singing. I want them to be literate when they leave me. And I want them to have a good time in my classroom doing things that they will never forget. I want to give them unforgettable experiences. And so those are my top 3. And so what the unforgettable experiences include the musical review. When they finish that musical review and the last show happens, there are often tears. They're just excited, but they're sad. They're glad they've seen wonderful labors of the hard work. So if you have things that you're doing with your students, please write them below, share them, what you're doing in your classroom. And another thing I want you to share tonight for others to see once this is over, and just a reminder that level 2 is $39 if you've just joined, and it's normally $139, so go get it. It's gonna be that way till 9 p.m. I also wanna ask you guys some things that you have used recently in your classrooms that you find really fun. Any activity, like I am going to share one that I do that I've shared I think before on one of these events. It's a breathing activity where I think I got it from the breathing gym. So if you are not familiar, anybody familiar with breathing gym, let me know, do a like or something. But it is a great resource for helping the kids learn to use their air better. So I want things that induce laughter, and yeah. So Kyle, hello, Kyle, welcome back. So I have them go to the wall and they place the tissue on the wall like a tissue, a Kleenex, and I go over and do it first, and I just press it against the wall like with both hands, and then I kind of squat a little bit, and then I blow after I take my hands off, and try to keep it on the wall as long as possible so that it will, not fall down to the floor. Now, when it falls down to the floor, I have to start over and put it back up. So we make it a competition, and so I call another child up, and I'm old, so they're like, they think they're going to beat me, and sometimes they do, but it's rare. And so I put the hands up on the wall, they put their hands up on the wall, and we go. And oftentimes what they will do that I have to teach them not to do is they'll go under it to try to get it to go up. But what you have to do is keep it flat on the wall. And it really does get their breath going and their energy going. It's a great thing. And those are some things that I would like for you tonight to share. If you have things like that you're doing, little tricks that get them energized when our middle schoolers have low energy, and we know that happens a lot, to get them to have fun, to laugh at each other, with each other. One thing that another level that I take it to is I put the tissue on the floor, and I have a piece of tape in the center of the floor that's a finish line, and I have students on each side. They're squatted on the floor on their knees, and when I say go, they start blowing the tissue to try to get it across the finish line, which is probably 20 feet behind them. So I put another piece of tape there, and it's fun, and they go crazy, and they start crawling everywhere, and blowing like crazy, and get up lightheaded. But those are things that can help. Those are the types of activities that we need that make their day fun, that energize a quiet rehearsal that's, or start off a good rehearsal that's really needs some energy in it on a Monday morning, right? We've all been there. So those are some things that I would like to ask for you guys to maybe post below here tonight. Ideas that you are using that are fun. I want teachers to find them. I want them to come here and find these resources. I wrote a blog post this weekend about the DonorsChoose that I mentioned earlier, and this very thoughtful reader wrote on there, she said that she gets frustrated with PD planning, professional development planning, that is not aimed at music teachers. And I'm sure that we've all had this situation where we go in, we sit through something that means nothing to us. If you've had that situation, press like. I'm going to do it now, actually. It is so frustrating, and we need good PD. And so a lot of you are here and other places on the web finding your professional development on the web. Yes, thank you for that. It's terrible. So I would urge you to go back into your sessions with your people, your leaders, and tell them about things like this that are accessible to people. Things that, all the YouTube resources that are out there. There's so many videos of choirs singing and people working with all-state choirs. And just one quick YouTube search or Google search away, you've got a lot of helpful stuff. And when we're sitting at those PD meetings and they're talking about things that just mean nothing to us, I always say to myself, I'm never going to get this 50 minutes back. It's gone, and it makes me crazy, as I'm sure it does you. So, share ideas with your people. Tell them what your experience is. Don't do it in a constructive way to help them see your point of view, that you really do want to be better at what you're doing, and that you do things on your own time and your own money, so that they can try to, maybe you can help find things. Even if you guys sat in a room and read blog posts of things that you'd seen from other teachers who are sharing online. I wrote also recently about this too, just sharing your ideas, and that's what I'm trying to encourage tonight on this as well, is please go to my page, go to this and any link, and just post on my page about things that you're doing that are great, that are working, that are making your children laugh, that are making them want to sing better. Rehearsal techniques that you're using, like something that really worked that day. I would love it. It would help me, and it would help so many other teachers. The last thing I'm going to kind of cover here, and you again can ask any questions anytime, you know this. I'm going to discuss motivating your students with competition, which we use in S Cubed all the time. We use it, if you use S Cubed, you post points on the board, and you get crazy and outrageous with those points. I mean, those students walk in the door, and today my boys noticed the girls had gotten 1,000 points on their exercise today. And they were like, how did that happen? And I'm keeping them, they're also pretty equal in their sight singing, so I'm keeping them very close, but I'm ginning up that competition between them, and keeping one group 1 point ahead at all times. And they look at it, and it motivates them. So the second way I'm using competition is I take 4 choirs to my adjudication, and I want those choirs to outscore each other the best that they can. And I know that they're capable of the focus required to get it done. And last week, I think I shared on the Facebook Live, I listened to the students that day. I think I listened to them on Tuesday, actually. I listened to them on Tuesday. I recorded them and listened to them. The fear factor while keeping the competition close. Well, it's tricky, and you have to keep it light, Kyle. You really do. You have to, be willing to be a little flex. Like, I assign sort of a general number to the exercise that I'm going to use all day, and then I tell them I'm going to listen to rhythm, I'm going to listen to pitch, and I'm going to go up or down according to how accurate it is. And you're human. You do the best you can, but they. And then when they see the scores and they want to complain, which is rare for me because I keep it light, I'm like, just, show up and do it. Like, do better. I'll give you the points that you need to get above them. And then the other way that I ginned up some competition last week was I audio recorded all 4 groups last week. I gave them the judges' sheets about 3 weeks before that, so they know what they're going to be scored on. And I listened, I recorded them, then we all listened to them sing. I made comments, they made comments. I wrote scores for every class. I told them I was going to show the scores. Like in Georgia, we do like a 1 if it's superior, a 2 if it's excellent, a 3 if it's good. And I scored every subcategory, tone, pitch, rhythm, all of it, everything on the Georgia sheet. I just went right down the sheet. And I gave them their scores, and I tried to be as legit as I could be. It was for me as well. So when I scored them and I showed all the scores the following day, which was Wednesday, to everyone, they were listening. I mean, those 8th graders don't want to be outdone by the 7th graders. And in this, thanks for the like. And in this a particular performance that they did, the 8th graders were the second from the bottom of the 4. The 6th graders and the 7th grade boys scored the best. Nobody got all 1s. There were very few 1s where it's too early in preparation and there's too many ragged edges, But the 7th grade boys, in my view right now, are going to be the ones that score the highest at this event. Now that could change, but I'm trying to generate some passion, some competition, because for these kids, using peer pressure, positive peer pressure, these kids care about what their peers think. They want to sound good in front of their peers. They want to come back with superiors, which, you know, I tell them it's a tall order and it's not always guaranteed, and you need to do the work. And so, you know, we try to make the process as fun as possible, but there are times when you just have to kind of lay it out. Like, this is where you are, and this is what you need to be doing to achieve this high level. And hopefully that will serve them, you know, for their lives. So I am going to just remind you guys as I wrap this up tonight that there is no Monday next week, but the following week there will be, and I will offer a great deal to end February. And I want you to please share this with your peers. Like, just press the share button everywhere that you can so that people can find it, even if the content tonight didn't really apply to them. I want teachers to feel comfortable driving the bus of the topics they need covered. Ask any question, always, okay? And I'll have some specific topics later, but I wanted this month to be open discussion, so please share. And share with them about the Level 2 $100 off between now and 9 p.m. It's $39, and it's normally $139. So a lot of you purchased Level 1. It's the perfect time to go in there and grab Level 2 and take your choir into the mixed choir zone over the next, 6 months or a year. All right, thank you, Kyle, and I appreciate you joining me, and we hope to see you on 2 weeks from now. All right, have a great one.